Hey all, so unfortunately for me, I have just washed my face. I looked quite a bit better when I had makeup on, but I had this idea to sort of slap up a video, which to be honest, that's usually what I do, is just slap up a video. And this time I'm actually in my bathroom. Here's my shower curtain. But I thought of something that I thought you guys might be interested in, and that is my process of writing a book. And I thought of doing this video because, announcement, I am actually writing a new book. I feel like it's like announcing that I'm gonna have a baby or something, which I'm not. But I do have a new book in process. I'm about halfway through a really rough draft of it. It's a raw food book, and it's from a different perspective than my last raw food book. And I think I'm just so excited about it. And I'm excited to tell you guys more about it. But I think that's all I'll say for now until I get that draft in at least and get a better idea of sort of a timeline. I'm shooting for, I'm afraid to say it, I'm shooting for releasing in August. I don't know that will happen. We'll see, but we are already shooting the cover this week. And it's really in process and like really pretty fully formed. So obviously I'm just holding my phone. I'm sure that's great for you guys. So I wanted to share my book writing process because it may be really different than anything that you've heard of or done, and it might be freeing for you. So I just thought I would let you in on kind of what I do when I write a book. Because I think there are a lot of people out there who, and I was like this too before I wrote my first book. I was just for years like, I want to write a book. I know I'm a writer, I want to write a book. But I had it backwards. I had it the cart before the horse, because what actually happens, at least for me, and with all of this, whatever works for you is awesome. Keep doing it. But for me, what I found, what actually happens is I get hit by an idea I want to write a book about. It might not be a fully formed idea. It might be. I don't make an outline, nothing. I sit down and write either on my computer, or a lot of times it's in the middle of the night. I'll write in my little notebook, sometimes in the dark, because I don't want to turn the light on, whatever ideas I have coming out. I think because I'm parenting during the day and busy with other things, that's just kind of the time it has to come out. But it always starts with an idea that just like hits me as, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this and I have so much energy behind it. Really, I don't have much mental input into the process of my book until I start the editing process. It really just is all in flow. I remember one time I heard someone say, when they were asked what they want to do, I remember this person said, I want to be a keynote speaker. And I thought that was so funny, because it's like, well, that should come after, that's like a result of having amazing content. That's like people who say, I want to do a TED Talk, but they don't have like content, right? So that to me is kind of analogous to, I want to write a book, but it's also, you know, useful and organic to know that you're a writer and eventually that's going to happen. But I found myself like for years when I was young, like casting around for ideas of what's this book going to be about. And it didn't end up working that way at all for me. Like I said, I'll have an idea, I'll take some notes on it, and I'll just sit down and start writing. And really that is the whole process for me. A lot of people will have a writing schedule or a number of pages they're gonna hit each day. I don't do that at all. I sit down when I have time to write, and I write until I don't wanna write anymore. And I write whatever I wanna write, whatever's kind of coming up for me or coming through or feels inspiring. And sometimes it's in an order and sometimes it's not. Eventually, usually fairly early on in the process, I do come up with kind of an outline, but it's not something that happens on purpose. It's not something I plan. In fact, this book, I was like, I'm not doing an outline for this. I'm just doing all of it just as it kind of unfolds. But what unfolded fairly soon was an outline, at least a rough outline, and often I do change that around as I go, whatever. How can you know what you're gonna write about before you write it, you know? I guess if you're writing a technical manual, but I don't know, my books are how-to books, and they still come out in a flow rather than in a planned sort of mechanistic way. So yeah, I do notice, like with this, like I mentioned, that I did come out with an outline. So I noticed that as I'm sort of transcribing what's come through to me in the middle of the night or early morning or whenever that's happened, that the book will start to lay itself out organically, and I will become aware of, oh, I need this in there and this and this and this is what's gonna come next. I don't know what I'm gonna write fully formed in those sections at all. And that happens when I just sit down when I have time to write. And sometimes it's every day, sometimes it's for hours and hours, and sometimes it's 3 minutes while my daughter's putting her PJs on. I'll have something, I'll go, oh God, I need to write that down. I try to keep a notebook handy. It's a big notebook, like 8.5 by 11 blank notebook is what I've used for years. And then I'll just write everything down that comes up for me for that project and put it in there. And then when I sit down to write, if something's not like right away there, I'll open the notebook and sort of insert those things where they go. So that's how I do really the beginning and the entire rough draft of the project. Once I get a pretty decent rough draft laid out, then it'll be more, okay, I'm rearranging things, I'm adding things, I'm looking to see if there's any gaps where I'm missing things that I wanted to add that I forgot, things like that. And then after that, it does become a little bit more of a technical process where I'll go through and edit sections. I don't always do them in order. I do them whatever I feel like doing at that moment when I sit down to edit. And then after that, I will send it to my amazing, one of my best friends in the whole world, Kevin Benevito, who I love very much and is an insanely incredible editor. He somehow, looks like leaves are growing out of my neck. He somehow knows my voice. He knows how to say things just in a way that I want to say them, but I hadn't quite gotten there somehow. It's really like a magical thing he does, and we'll kind of go back and forth until we get a really pretty solid draft of how I want it to be. And then it goes to a professional editor. And then that will go back and forth, and I'll add things in that I want to add. I'll follow suggestions I want to follow. We'll rearrange things that I want to rearrange. Sometimes I'll reject those suggested changes. But that really is more of a kind of like a monotonous maintenance thing, and sometimes I will have to really force myself through to the end. But generally, once I get myself to sit down, once I'm in that stage, it's easy and I really enjoy it. It becomes sort of like, I'll have this dread of like, oh God, I don't want to edit today. But so there is effort involved in that part of the process for me. And then we just do that until we've kind of combed out all the knots. I always think of it as like combing long hair, where you like comb and you get some knots and you get those out, and then you go up a little bit higher and comb that section out until the whole thing is just smooth and looks and feels and sounds exactly how I want it. And then we start doing the final formatting and publishing. And I am self-publishing this book. I also did the Brushfires essays, which I have recently really gotten a new appreciation for, and I'm really proud of that book. So it's really cheap right now too, you guys. It's like $5 on Amazon because I have not marketed it or anything because it's still an advanced copy, which means it still has some errors in it. I'm not going to change anything about it huge. It's just like it still has underlinings for links because they're a collection of essays that originally I published on my website. But I'm really proud of that book. So if you want a cheap price on my book, it's actually cheaper than what I pay for author copies, which are copies that you can buy of your own book for a discounted rate. My author copies are $7, and which I have to pay to get a copy of my own book. And they're now $5 and something on Amazon. part of the reason they're so cheap, Amazon discounted them, is because I think this is what's going on. I haven't marketed them at all, and the search isn't actually working. So if you put in my name, my other books come up, but that one does not appear. Even if you put up the name of the book, which is The Brushfires Essays, it doesn't appear either. The way you can get to it is if you go to the link on my website, go to the book section in the menu, excuse me, and that link works. It'll take you right there. And unless something's changed from earlier today, it only let me order 4 books, but I was like, oh my gosh, this is way cheaper, so I'm just gonna buy them this way, because I am doing the final edits on that. But really nothing, like I said, nothing major is gonna change. So if you're interested at all, I have a comment on there of someone in Canada who bought and is reading the book, and she loved it and says she opens it every night to a different page and reads that essay, and it has like a message for her in her life that's applicable specifically for her in that time. And I just loved that. I thought that was awesome. So if you're interested in that, go through my website and just click through to there and grab yourself a super cheap copy of that book. And I can't remember why at all I went on that tangent. I hope there's nothing I am forgetting that I kind of wanted to add to this video. I think I was saying I was self-publishing, which is a little bit of a misnomer because I'm hiring someone actually to do that process for me, because that is not my strength or interest. But I'm just paying that up front, which is the advantage of having a publisher. They're going to pay for all that up front. You don't have to put up any money up front. You just write your book and they do that. But then they take it out on, you know, on the back end with the profits, and also may have rights to your book. So this, like my last book, The Brushfires Essays, I will own this new book. That's very exciting to me too. So anyways, ended up being way longer than I thought it was going to be, but I'll give you updates as soon as I know them on this book. And I would love to hear from you guys in the comments if you have a different process of writing, or if you write in the same way. I'm really interested. This is just kind of how it works for me. And I can't tell you how many books I had read previously about how to write a book, and I took courses and stuff like that, and it just didn't work at all for me like that at the end of the day. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Hope you have a good night. Thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.